Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Say It Out Loud GG. Um, Thank you for our sponsor, Leslie and Siani Style, for sponsoring this program. Well, today I am doing something a little different, a little weird, because I did this podcast in Spanish, because we did like a poll with different people. Like we sent it to everyone personally, and we wanted to see if you could ask Gigi any question. If you could ask Judith Diaz any questions, what would they be? What would you like to know about her? What process, would you like her to talk about? So right now I have 10 questions in front of me that I'm going to answer, that this has to do with the public. This is not something that like AI or nothing program. It's pretty much what people want me or wanted to know about me and how I do things. Some of the questions are really interesting. I just read them because I just got them. My team just sent it to me, and because that's the whole point, because they didn't want me to like pre-read them and just like, oh, have the answer so professionally. They wanted me to just be authentic and be Gigi, which I mean normally am, but they didn't want to give me a heads up. They just wanted me to just, okay, we're gonna send you the questions. Now we want to see like your full blown answer without like any pre-recording or premeditating on what answers they're gonna be. So here we go. So the first one is, how did your personal development journey begin and what inspired you to start? Okay, they came down strong. Okay. um hmm. Oh, that's a good question. How did your personal development journey begin, and what inspired you to start? Well, I think my personal development journey, I think everybody's personal development journey begins since the day you're born, right? Since you have knowledge. So I can't say it started there, but I would say with awareness, it started pretty early on. What inspired me to, it's all the things that cause pain. So let me explain that. So my personal development, um, I think I've always worked on personal development. I just didn't know how, right? When you're presented with life and you don't know how, or you don't know what to look at, I think that makes it a little harder for you. And I think that growing up, that was pretty much my case. I didn't know what personal development or healing or healthy way of living looked like, but I knew that I didn't want to continue living the way I was living. I don't know if that makes sense. So what it inspired me, my hard times, you know um I would say, since anybody that knows my story, finding my way back to Gigi, which I wrote a book, knows that I came from a physically abused father, and and I remember being that young, because let me tell you something. You remember the traumatic stuff. Like I have no memory of me hugging my dad, kissing my dad, um, like loving on my dad, where I could say, "Oh my god, I used to do this with like dad, my father." I don't have those memories. I don't have um good memories of my childhood with my father. I do remember that the only memory that I could say it's semi positive was the day that my mother left him, that we were supposed to go school shopping and to like get uniforms and all that, and we never came back. But I remember that morning, and it's so interesting how I can remember that, right? And I guess because that's the day I felt relieved. I felt like, oh, I'm not going to be physically hurt again, right? And I remember kissing him on the forehead and saying, "I love you, Dad." And that's the only good or positive memory that I have. I don't have any other memory of that. growing up as an adult is different, but as that child, that little girl, that's pretty much the memories I have. I've talking to family members, I've spoken to family members. They said, "Oh, I remember you used to be like on top of your dad, like, oh, dad, I love you," and this and that. You see, that's the memories that I've never kept. That's the memories that maybe if I do a hypnosis, maybe I'll get there. But that's not nothing that as a child I do remember, but I do remember really young, at a young age. I do remember being hidden in a or closed up in the closet, and been, for hours because I lost his pen, or in a staircase where it was dark and cold. Like, they're the negatives I can remember. So with that being said, it's just saying that I was so, at even at that age, I was so aware of, this is wrong. Like I know this is not right, right? Because when kids grow up, they normalize stuff. They're quickly and easily can normalize things and just be like, well, that was normal. That's the way I grew up. You see, I was the child that I said, this is not normal. That, like, this can't be right. I remember thinking that, like, this is wrong. Um, but I had no other choice. So I tried to always be on my best behavior. And even that didn't work out because my siblings used to blame me since I was the one always getting in trouble. And it wasn't trouble, it's being a child, right? Now I could go back and look at that as being as a child. So the question is, like, when how did my personal development journey begin? I think it begins from there. It just begins from the moment you start recollecting and getting information that later on will help you process. I mean, that's my personal opinion. Once again, this is my interview, but personal development pretty much is when you start focusing on yourself, when you start understanding and being aware of all that. But I feel that I've always been aware, fully aware. I was that child that was fully aware of all the surroundings and knew that something's bad is something's not and something's good. And what inspired me was, all the bad things inspired me to become the person I am today. And along the way, along that journey, because every heartache and everything that hurt me so bad, I knew that I didn't want to ever go through that again. So I made the changes accordingly to that. So um for example, like a physical abuse father, and so I knew that I didn't want to ever be in a relationship that had to do with domestic violence, like physical abuse. Like, I knew that that was a no. I knew that anybody that I was surrounded myself with, if they were physically abusive or I see any physical anything, I didn't want to be around that. So that's why I say this. So I was fully aware since I was a little girl. um but if you want to say when my life really clicked and changed and I started or decided to heal myself, do self-awareness healing, like go to therapy, coaches, and do inner child healing, I think that it was just through the journey of just going through dramatic things. So I can't say, oh, yeah, in this year was when I, when it started, like, this is the time. I just feel like it's been a process. It's been a process because even though I did inner child healing, I also did other mistakes that I had to heal from. And so it's just life is a process. Personal development is a development. It's something that it's a process for you to go through. It's going to be um, a life story, right? It's going to be anything. So I just believe that I've been inspired of all my heartaches. Like, when I get inspired when people tell me no. I get inspired when people or don't believe in me. Like, that is what inspires me to say, no, I could, like, to break them barriers, to break those, um, those negative right aspect of people saying that you're not capable because you went through this, or you will never become that because of everything you've been through. Like, I that's what inspires me, because I'm a living proof of saying that no, I don't care what I've been through, it's not going to define who I want to be. So I hope that answered the question. um can you share some key tools that helped you along the way? Um, I need more. uh, I need more information to answer that question, I guess. But I guess the tools, it's just, once again, it's just knowing yourself and knowing who you are, right? And when I say that as a metaphor, right? Who you are. You're going to get to know who you are until the day you die. Guys, this is not, you know, this is not written in stones. It's your life. So you're going to strategize it, and you're going to do whatever you have to do and however you have to do it according to your needs, right? And your needs could be, they could change from one second to another, they could, your emotions change on a daily basis, right? Your mental health could change, anything could change. So according to how you change is how you need, or what tools to apply. I think the best things, and I don't know the specific question, it was just asked that way, but it's pretty much just saying, like, what tools? All right, self awareness. You need to be self aware. If I'm going to tell you any tools, I'm going to say this: self awareness. What is self awareness? Is to be aware of everything you do in your life, every decision, every no, every yes. When you wake up, fully be aware when you're brushing your teeth, fully be aware of your surroundings, how your surroundings look, how you feel, how it makes you feel. And this is a process that is going to take you time to overcome. It's going to take you time to understand it, because it was really hard for me to fully be aware emotionally, just because I've been through a lot. So emotionally I was just shut down, but I was aware. There was a part of me that was aware, because I knew, like, this is wrong, this is not right, like, this can't be normal. And I was the child that asked, like, a lot of questions. So, and that's another story for another day. But if I give you any tools or any strategies, or if I could give you anything, because I don't know what's the specific question, I'm thinking about everything I've been through, right? It would be self-awareness, self-love, and have grace with yourself. No matter how bad your decision might be, or no matter how much mistakes you make, or if you keep repeating the same cycle, or keep repeating, self-awareness, it's very important. Know that that's not what you want to do. When you're ready, I always say this, you know, I'm the type of coach that I need you to be ready for the change. I don't need you to want the change. Wanting and needing is two different things. And once again, that's in my workbook, your growth plan. So the tools that I would basically always say that they're like the top, it's self-love, self-awareness, and have grace with yourself. Like, be nice with yourself, like, celebrate yourself, celebrate your wins. Okay, so the another one is, I think that, yeah, the third one, it's saying, why okay, so everybody knows I'm married, so the question is, why does your husband, or why don't your husband come out, or we see him, like, in and say it out loud, GG. My husband supports me in what I do. Like, he's my number one supporter, but this is my thing. This is what I do, right? And it's funny that they asked that, because I know everybody knows that I'm married, that I have twins. But this is an interesting question, because no one has ever asked that. Like, my husband doesn't want to. He wants to be like, leave me in the background. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, he's my number one supporter, and he is around. It's just that He's around when I need help with carrying stuff, manly stuff. But this is my thing, and he says that's your thing. I support you. I love you. I think what you're doing is great. Like, he believes in what I do. He believes in everything I do. He has my book. He's always the first one buying my books, of course, in Spanish. And he just feels like I'm an incredible person. Hopefully one day I'm gonna try to interview him. Once again, he probably not gonna say no, like, no, I'm not. But that's why nobody sees him, because he's always in the background. And we do have a lot of pictures. We take a lot of pictures together. But another thing is that my social media has become a platform of business that um he's like, no, it's okay, like, no, don't put it up or anything. Sometimes I do, like when it comes to anniversaries and stuff like that. But yeah, he's the type of guy that he's like in the background. He's the behind the scene kind of guy, like, leave me alone. I'm your number one supporter. He's a great guy. He's a funny guy. um he's very Latino in every aspect. But he loves me for exactly who I am. And yeah. And I was in just to say this, let me just laugh a little bit, because I was in the summit in the CLA, which is connected a leadership academy, CLA, for with Jose Escobar, summit, global summit. And I think, yeah, it was Cinco de Mayo. It was like the week of the Cinco de Mayo. So it happened this month. And I remember that I was talking because they were asking me like about my husband. I'm sorry, I'm looking. I keep looking there. I focus on one thing to look. And they asked me, oh, like, how are you? Like, how's your husband and stuff like that. And when I spoke about him, I remember like someone, I don't remember who it was like, oh my God, you're so in love. Like, and it was like, how long you been together? Oh, 7 years, And they was like, oh, I love that you still in love. Like, when you talk about him, it's like doing all that. But that's not to say that we have had our ups and downs, believe me. But I just wanted to share that because that's very interesting that a lot of people just ask, like, hey, like, why don't we see your husband? My people, he doesn't want to be seen, okay? Leave him alone. Leave him where he's at. When he's ready to be seen, he'll come out and he'll be seen. And he's also handsome. Um, so that was number three. Okay. What significant obstacles or setback along the way have I had, and how have I overcome them? Okay, setbacks. Okay. All right, setbacks. Okay. You see, I need to know these questions so I can have like a good answer, because if not, I'm going to focus on one thing. I'm not going to look at the camera trying to think. And okay, but I do want to share this. Um this is not my first business that I've had. I've had I've had loyal management company that had to do with the property management, and that really didn't go like anywhere. Like, I try to push it, push it, push it, push it. But there's like a large competition there. And it's like you have to know someone to know someone to know someone. And even though I worked in a real estate business and everything, but usually when property owners or property owners have contract, it's very hard to get out of the contract with them. So it was very hard for me to like make new business. So that business, and it was called Loyal Management Company. I would have need new business to start growing from there. And I didn't have the right mindset. And I opened the company not in the right mindset either. Having the right mindset is really important, especially when you're going to open up a business. And I also had partnership ownership, which it was right management, which is a property management. And let me tell you that I that was a really bad, hard, 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 because I started the business with this person, which I'm not going to say any name. The person had a strong suit of it, and then I had another strong suit of it. So combined, we made the perfect company and everything. And mind you, I didn't know anything about, building a company or doing that. That was my first. And I would have to say that it was probably my eye awakening, where it's like you can't trust everyone, moment. And that's exactly what happened. I gave it my 110%. And we started up, and when we had meetings, it was like, this is a partnership, this is a 50-50, this is this and that. And me not knowing any better, I didn't know that I'm not on paperwork, that I wasn't on paperwork. I wasn't, I was in the bank, but not as a owner or a partnership. I was as a user. Like, but these are stuff that you learn later. At the moment, I didn't know any better. And then when stuff got hard, or I guess it was a right and a bad moment, because then at the moment that she was going to be sued, she like let me go. Um, she let me go, like, but it was okay. She let me go because it didn't affect me, the lawsuit, because actually I wasn't. That's how I found out that I really wasn't a partner. Um, Even though it was set, so it was like good and bad. It was a bittersweet kind of moment, because it was a moment where it's like, oh, I wasn't a partner, but it was like, oh, thank God I wasn't, because then she got sued for whatever reason it was. And I just went like, what? But I did cry over it. Like, I was really like depressed over that, because I'm like, oh, I trusted her. Like, why is she being sued? And stuff like that. Like, I trusted her. I trust that we're gonna be in this. Like, I guess I didn't know like the full story of it or behind it. But once again, it's the naive and trusting people and all that. So yeah, like, it's not my first rodeo. So that was a hard learning, but I'm grateful that I learned it. I'm grateful that I wasn't I wasn't a partner, a legal partner. I was just there, I guess, as an employee. Um so yeah. And then Loyal Management Company came, which I did a couple jobs under it, but it wasn't income enough to sustain me. Like, I needed to work, and then Loyal Management Company. And then once you go into the real estate business and the real estate world, anybody knows that it's a full time. So being able to do that full time, and then having to work on Loyal Management Company, it just didn't work out. It was too much. I wasn't ready. I wasn't in the right mindset. I wasn't, I was still bitter, I was still angry and upset and everything else. So I needed to learn how to just heal that, let that go, be grateful for exactly what happened, that I wasn't dragged in this lawsuit, that I wasn't dragged into something negative. Um but it still hurt. It still hurt when you trust in a person, when you believe in a person, and when you think that, well, we're going to thrive together, and at the end you just learn that it was, no, she's going to thrive alone. And that company still exists, is still up and running. She's still doing her thing, and I'm happy for her, and I'm happy for today. I am happy for her. I'm happy for what she's doing. I'm happy for all the process that she's going through. So yeah. So at this point, I feel okay with that. I feel like that was meant for her. It wasn't meant for me. And I'm okay with that. And I love that. So let's go to the other question, which what are our habits or routine that you have found to particularly benefit, or to benefit your, like, yourself or your business? Okay. Routines. I think that let me go back. It's not routine. It's having the mindset that you need to have. in order to grow. You need to know who you are as a person for that day, for that moment, for that time. You need to know where you stand, what boundaries you need to set. You need to know what you need instead of what you want, because sometimes what we want is not what we need, and that's really important to know. You have to educate yourself, you have to do that, but I would say it would be specific habits or discipline. Discipline is the number one thing that I think that we all have to do and work on. If you want it, you have to discipline yourself to know you have to get it. Like right now, I have, and I was just talking about this with my mom the other day. Like I have the privilege to kind of say, hey, listen, like I could stay at home. Like I could really, I'm a business owner and I have an office and I could open it whenever I want and I could do whatever I want and I could just sleep in if I wanted to. And once my twins go to school, I could just lay up in bed and do that. No, you have to have the discipline. You have to want it. You have to want it so bad that you need it. I don't know if that answered the question, but routine. Set yourself a plan. Stick to your plan. Make sure you write everything down. Make sure you plan yourself. Make sure your mental health is where it should be. Mental health is really important. You can't overwork yourself. You can't overstress yourself, because that is going to wear you down, and that's going to, you're going to fall down. You're not going to make it happen. You're not going to benefit off what you're trying to grow or what you're trying to build. you know what advice would I give to people who are looking to build a business? Okay, that's the following question. They don't have numbers. They just wrote down. I don't even know how many. Okay, so what advice would I give to people that want to grow their business? Um, you have to want it. You have to want it so bad that you're gonna sacrifice things. Sacrifice time, sacrifice money, sacrifice financial, sacrifice. You have to believe in it more than anybody, because nobody in this industry is going to sit there and applaud you and be like, oh, you could do it, and cheer you on and say, yes, I got you. If they're not benefiting off of you, they're not going to be your cheerleaders. You need to be your own cheerleader. You need to want it more than wanting what people are going to say about you or wanting the audience that are going to be there. Like, you need to want it so much that that is a mission for you. Like, what are you trying to accomplish? What is it that you want? And that has to be great. And it has to mean something to you, because besides that, when the negative opinions come in, when you see people just start getting next to you because of maybe because you're the highlight of Facebook or you're the highlight of this, and I'm talking by experience, you know you're going to see people that are going to support you and be there as long as it's beneficial for them. You need to want it so bad that it doesn't matter who's there, who's cheering you on, who's not cheering you on. You have to want it so bad and for yourself, and because you have a mission and this is the legacy you want to do. That's my advice to anyone who's listening to this, is you have to want it, and don't wait for people to cheer you on. And when it comes to family, they could be your biggest supporter or they could be your biggest setback. You need to know the difference, and you need to set the boundaries. You need to learn how to say no. You need to learn how to educate yourself financially, and manage your money right, and do the budget, and make sure you do for marketing, make sure you do for supplies, make sure you do this, make sure you do for that. And I'm just going to answer that question, and just leave it at that, because I can actually promote myself right now, and I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say that you need to just know yourself, know what you want, and want it so bad that it doesn't matter what negative things come your path. You believe in what you do. In your path, you believe in what you do. Okay. But looking forward to the head, what are some some goals that you're currently working on, and how do you plan to continue to grow and evolve in your future? Okay. You see that my laugh like, haha, you see, because I'm not, I wish I had these questions beforehand, but I hope I could answer them like, well, this is me. I'm gonna answer them however it comes, but I know I'm gonna see this later and be like, well, I should have said this. Comment below if it ever happens to you, because I know it's gonna happen to me. Okay. So what are some things or some goals that I'm currently working on, and what are my plans to continue growing? Um, the goals that I'm planning, or I'm having, or I'm currently working on, which is I think I promoted for the last video in this podcast, which is your growth plan, is a workbook. It's for personal development growth. So that's my baby. That's a big thing, and it's also dedicated to Rachel Perez, which I lost her in the COVID, and she was my best friend, my BFF, and that workbook is dedicated to her. And I'm actually launching it this Saturday, the 18th. So I'm very happy and very proud of that. And that's a workbook that I've been working on since 2018. So that is my goal, to continue working on that, to do free seminars to get the word out there. I think my next goal will be to take it to schools for teens, to be able to provide these workbook for teens for personal development. And maybe that's something that they can introduce to the teens to just help them get to know themselves, help them just work along when it comes to personal development, since that is my specialty. That is what I do, that is what I coach on, and how I will continue to grow and evolve in the future. Self awareness, to continue doing what I love, what makes me happy, and what my mission is. I believe, I really truly believe that I was chosen to do what I'm doing now, and to continue to focus on the teens, to make a difference because they are the future, and to provide the best services that I can, and be authentic and be me. And I'm not, don't apologize for that. Like, that's one of the things that I would never do or compromise. I will continue to grow, continue to learn, continue to make mistakes, but I want to learn from my mistakes, and just continue to be Gigi, Judith Diaz. So there's a lot of things that are coming that I have planned. So stay tuned, guys. Once again, thank you for allowing me to be part of your house or your time. Blessings to everyone. And thank you to our sponsor, La Cienciani Style, for sponsoring this program. Until next time, thank you for the amazing questions. They caught me off guard, but I know I'm going to see this video and be like, I should have answered it this way. But no, it's exactly the way it should be.